Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're coming from my blog, hello as well. So, today I'm going to be talking about gamification. And if you don't know what gamification is, here are some definitions for you. Game design principles are applied to existing organizational, real-world problems, situations, or processes. It is an approach that uses game features such as elements, mechanics, frameworks, aesthetics, thinking, and metaphors into non-game settings. Gamification is not quite creating a game, but transferring some of the positive characteristics of a game to something that is not a game, thus gamifying it. But why are we talking about gamification? So, I am a college/university student, whatever you call it in your country, and just like many other students, it can be a little difficult to stay engaged with some of the content in classes. With the rise of technology, we are constantly being bombarded by new information, which can be more interesting than what we are learning in the classroom, which makes it hard for us to stay engaged. Engagement can be defined as students' attention to and absorption in a task. Research has shown that engagement depends on many different factors. The application of gamification is becoming more and more important as students no longer seem to be as engaged with traditional learning approaches as they were in the past. One of the goals of gamifying learning is to stimulate the engagement and motivation that gamers have towards games in learners towards education. Cheong discusses 3 different aspects that you have to do in order to implement gamification effectively. 1. Understand the target audience. 2. Determine what the player should do. In this case, the player is the student. 3. Use the appropriate elements to motivate players to act. With the appropriate use of game elements, high level of engagement and motivation can be produced in a learning situation, which leads to positive outcomes in the cognitive, emotional, and social areas. Implementing gamification is not an easy task. There is no universal design that can be put in place for every educational situation. So the specific objective and the desired outcomes of the learning process needs to be taken into consideration. So what are these different game elements that I've been talking about? Game elements can range from concrete to abstract. Apostle et al. 2013 identified 8 game elements that are used to gamify learning. Rules, goals and outcome, feedback and reward, problem solving, story, players, safe environment, sense of mastery. These are some other game design elements. They range from concrete to abstract. This is another way of looking at game design elements. This one goes from abstract to concrete. Dicheva et al. Found that the most used gamification design principles were visual status, social engagement, freedom to fail, and rapid feedback. Just like there is no universal way of implementing gamification in education, there is no universal way to talk about the different game elements. Different authors and researchers talk about game elements in a different way. Probably the most well-known game elements are points, badges, the use of leaderboards, but those are really concrete elements. Since concrete game elements are only surface characteristics, a gamification design that only limits itself to those elements may not only fail to engage students, but could also harm already existing engagement. With all the great things that gamification can do for learning, There is always going to be downfalls and limitations. Nothing's perfect. The subjects may become trivialized to some students. Learning works can just be seen as a game and not taken seriously. The game elements used may not be enough to enhance performance. Learning difficulties can't be overcome just by games. When there is an increase in extrinsic motivation levels, the levels of intrinsic motivation drop significantly, which can result in less enthusiasm and motivation for the subject. Gamification is not an important motivating factor for all students. Some students do not want to compete against their classmates. The different player types experience the same affordances differently. It is important to have a system that is customizable so that all students can benefit from gamification. Engagement can decrease over time as the novelty of gamification wears off. If all learning contexts were gamified, engagement fades away at a rapid pace. There still needs to be more research on how effective certain game elements are in creating motivation and engagements among students. But gamification can be a great new method to try in the classroom if students are no longer becoming motivated and engaged with the traditional teaching methods. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Scroll credits.